And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
John, I know you love to gamble on the cruise ships, but we're going to need you to get your butt to Vegas fairly soon because tourism is so bad right now in Vegas that dealers are getting laid off. And we're not talking drug dealers. We're talking blackjack dealers.
Uh-oh. What's next? They're going to lay off one of the tigers at the Siegfried and Roy Act? How about the Elvis impersonators? Are their jobs safe?
They can go sing the national anthem at minor league baseball games.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. If you're on hold and want to weigh in on the rioting going on in downtown Los Angeles and freeway closures, we'll get to your calls after this next interview. We're definitely going call heavy on the show again today. But first, it is our pleasure to welcome our next guest to the program. He is a community activist and videographer on the streets of San Francisco. You can follow him on X at war241-82236. JJ Smith, welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for stopping by this afternoon.
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
So your account, which produces fascinating videos, is hard to watch for me at times because of what you're catching on the streets of San Francisco, including individuals on the sidewalk overdosing with drugs, people trying to bring them back with Narcan, and then other drug addicts at the scene saying, no, don't do it because you'll wreck his high. Well, you have a person who's literally laying there overdosing, dying right there on camera, and the people around him are trying to prevent help from being administered. How wild is that?
That is crazy. That's something I never would understand. They rather for a person to stay comatose in that situation than helping them, because a lot of times people don't come back even with the Narcan.
Is it hard for you to videotape these incidents as it's playing out in real time, not just something that's on your telephone or your computer screen, but in your case, it's happening literally right in front of you?
Yes, it happened right in front of me multiple times a day. And it's hard for me to go back and review it after I filmed it, but I have to, because you got to remember, these people out here on the streets, they're still human, and they still have that opportunity to change. But as long as the city and county of San Francisco is not giving that opportunity for somebody to change, ain't nothing going to happen.
When you see something like that happen, and you see it happen on a regular basis, are you traumatized?
Yes, I'm traumatized. Sometimes I have to, after a week, I have to just sit back to myself and just relax or something, because it really hurts me. It hurts me to see my fellow brothers and sisters out here on the street dying.
After someone has overdosed and Narcan is being administered, or I guess attempted to be administered, and the people around the person overdosing say, no, don't do it, you're going to wreck his high. You ever pull one of them aside afterwards and have a conversation with them and say, why did you do that? You could have contributed to this person's death. Why was it that the high is so important that it's worth more than life itself?
Because some of them believe that when you're doing that, they're going to come back automatically, that you're only destroying their high. And I didn't have some people that woke up and was kind of upset that they was brought back. They really don't believe they overdosed. They just believe that they was gone somewhere else. They was just high, they was sleeping and all like that. And it's ridiculous when you're not actually breathing. You're gone.
So the person who is overdosing, you've seen that person get mad for people trying to help.
Yes. They don't really actually believe that they overdosed.
How common is that?
That's very common. It's like every situation where a person overdoses and they come up out of it, they actually don't even have no clue what just happened to them.
And what's the reaction? Because when you say that this happens on the streets, I would imagine that there are cars going by. I would imagine that there are people walking by, maybe police officers, maybe the safety ambassadors, whomever. What's the reaction among those who see this going on? Do they just act like it's not happening? Do they stop to render aid? What's the reaction?
A lot of people just walk by because people in San Francisco normalize this. This is an everyday thing. This is something that you are going to see when you walk in your house and when you walk out your house. You're going to see it. Every time the ambulance go by, you automatically tell yourself they're going to go rescue somebody that's overdosed. So it's just like a lot of people normalize this. I didn't sit there and watch people walk past a dead body before, and they didn't even give it no thought. They just continued on walking by, probably drinking a soda, drinking a latte. Another dead body.
What do you make of the politicians in San Francisco who say, and they say this all the time, and I'm sure you've seen it, oh, they're over-exaggerating the problem. This doesn't really happen on a regular basis. Maybe it happens in one part of town or one street or one little isolated place, but it's not something that's common. It's the news just trying to scare everyone. It's propaganda. It's people who want to dump on San Francisco because they don't like Nancy Pelosi or whomever. And this is all much ado about nothing.
I hear that a lot. I even heard that from our own mayor a little bit. But to me, it's like it's there. It actually moved out of one neighborhood to multiple neighborhoods. It's everywhere in San Francisco now. And the people that don't want to take a look at it is the people that's stopping it from actually really getting fixed. See, they're labeling this thing as a homeless crisis when it's not a homeless crisis. It's a drug crisis. For instance, I had a brother that overdosed and died. He had his own home. He left his home with his wife that they owned. He came to the street to use drugs. The city gave him a free apartment to live in so he could go use the drugs in that free apartment. But he was never homeless. He had a home to go to. And he sat up there and overdosed in that apartment that they gave him and died. And they're going at this about the wrong way because they keep looking at it as a homeless crisis. A lot of these people out here on the street are interviewed, and I speak to them. And they all tell me that they can go back home to their family or to their wives or to their husbands or whatever. But it's not a homeless crisis. It's a drug crisis. And until they recognize that this is a drug crisis, then they'll come up with the right solution to fix it. And then they will actually believe it. They don't believe it's a drug crisis. That's why they keep calling it a homeless crisis.
We're speaking with community activist and videographer J.J. Smith, who you can follow on X at war241-82236. JJ, in San Francisco and in L.A. and in other big cities around the country, the public health departments are run by people with PhDs in social welfare and similar degrees. And they say, not medical doctors, but they say the way to help people who are doing drugs on the streets is to give them clean needles. It's to give them tinfoil. It's to give them drug paraphernalia. It's to tell the cops to back off and not arrest them if they see them breaking the law. It's to turn the streets over to them, turn the parks over to them, turn the libraries over to them, and allow them to do all the drugs they want as long as the needles are clean and there's Narcan nearby. What do you say to those people?
I say that they're crazy. First of all, you give a person a free pipe under their slogan. The slogan that they use in San Francisco is called safe use. And that slogan, safe use, means it's safe to use fentanyl or any other type of drug mixed with fentanyl as long as you're using it with clean supplies. So that's advertising that it's okay to use it as long as you use it with a new supply of needles, a new supply of bubble pipes, new supply of fentanyl and straws. And they're not putting it out there that it's never safe to use. And they believe by helping somebody that's addicted to drugs, they believe by giving them the clean access to new equipment and waiting for them to be ready to stop using. How they're going to ever be ready when you're giving them the equipment to use it? Not only are you giving them the equipment to use it, you're opening up special places for them to go in there and use these drugs. They have a in San Francisco. There's a street in the downtown San Francisco where the mayor opened up a triage center for people to go in there and get help, for them to go in there and request for shelter or for drug rehab or something like that. But I took a trip into that center, and I filmed that center. When I walked in there, everybody in there was accessing drugs. It was using drugs. So, and harm reduction got things on the walls posted that says, do not go to treatment, deny treatment, come to us and get a free supply of paraphernalia. And this is supposed to be a site to help people, but no, it's not helping people. They're damaging more than they're helping, because I never heard of giving somebody a clean pipe will save their life. And that's ludicrous.
Would you say it's safe to say that if you're running a public health department and you are implementing the policies of harm reduction, you are contributing to the deaths of your drug-addicted population?
Correct. The San Francisco Mayor, Lurie, and the new chief of the head public department, public health, they came out and said after May the 30th, there'll be no more people from the Harm Reduction Society passing out needles, pipes, and aluminum foil on corners, because they stand at the corners and just pass it out to anybody that's coming. But still, this is after May the 30th, and they're still out there handing those paraphernalia equipments out. So either they're going rogue or the mayor just don't care and he's not listening to his own policy he set forth. And they believe that harm reduction here in San Francisco is different than a lot of other harm reduction places. I took a trip to LA and I walked with some harm reduction people. Harm reduction people in Los Angeles and San Jose and Oregon, they offer people treatment. They offer them another way out other than using drugs. San Francisco harm reduction does not believe in another way out, such as rehab or drug treatment. They believe a person should continue on using until they're ready to stop using. And when they're ready, they mellow them off with, here, don't smoke so much. Just smoke a little bit. And that's their way of telling somebody not to use drugs no more. Don't smoke a lot. Just use a little bit. They practice of telling people, always go to the same dealer. Don't go to anybody else. And that's the Department of Public Health.
I want to play for you some sound of Gavin Newsom, who believes that clean and sober is not really an option. Let's listen.
Clean and sober is one of the biggest damn mistakes this country's ever made. I know it's a hold-your-hand idealistic point of view that somehow magically, I mean, God bless some of you. If you're like me, I've been known to have a glass of wine at night watching some of the nightly news. We all need to self-medicate periodically.
What do you make of that?
What I make of that is he's a big part of the problem. I make that as a part of the problem right there. There's no solution. If you could tell a person not to go clean and sober, then you're part of the problem.
Do you think we'll ever get to the point to where our public transit is cleaned up, our streets are cleaned up, our parks are cleaned up, our libraries are cleaned up, our beaches are cleaned up, unless and until we drop harm reduction and we give these people real treatment?
Correct. We can't do nothing with the administrator they have right now running California, the administration that's running some of these cities. We can't do nothing until that change, because you have these political people that's in office that's doing this for profit. It's all about profit at the end of the day. Because they've been spending billions and billions of dollars to clean up the homelessness, to clean up the drug situation, but still, they have nothing to show for it. It's all the same, even after billions and billions was spent. Where's the money going? You have all these nonprofits in San Francisco. You have at least 120 of them floating around San Francisco Tenderloin, but you do not see none of those nonprofits actually out on the street helping people. When I did that video, when that guy was overdosing, it was people from a nonprofit called Five Keys there. And now they're trained to handle these situations. And none of them wanted to call the ambulance to help that gentleman. He was outside of their facility. None of them even wanted to Narcan him. They was just looking until I arrived on the scene. When I arrived on the scene, I had questioned them, did anybody call the ambulance? And they all looked at each other. None of them wanted to call the ambulance.
Are you surprised that we're learning, not just in San Francisco, but in Los Angeles, about all of the corruption that is being uncovered in these organizations that are supposed to provide services and help for the homeless, where the money frequently is being stolen by those who work there?
I see that a lot in San Francisco. I see that a lot, that these organizations are just for profit. They're supposed to be nonprofit organizations, but they're for profit. And the way I say they're for profit, they're there so these people can keep getting these big checks and these big donations, and they're just eating that money up. They'll probably get $100,000 checks to pass out something. They'll pass out a little bit, and the rest goes into their pocket.
Community activist and videographer J.J. Smith. If you don't follow him on social media, you should. You can follow him at War241-822-36. The videos are very hard to watch, but I don't think we're ever going to solve this problem unless people see what's going on the streets in front of their face and people understand what is actually transpiring on the streets of San Francisco and Los Angeles and elsewhere, because for our politicians to say that it's a housing problem or a homeless problem and they don't address the videos and the scenes that you're picking up on a regular basis on your feed, then I don't think we're ever going to get out of this. JJ, excellent work. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, now that we've hit the halfway point of today's show, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
Like, let's say you want to go to simpler times where we had 3 hours a day to make fun of Sheng Tao.
Absolutely.
Search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcast, whether it's the Apple Podcast app.
And he said absolutely.
It's iHeart.
Absolutely.
It's Spotify.
Absolutely.
Search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe, and download all the episodes. You know who's going to like that.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
If you want to weigh in on the freeway closures, the looting, the rioting, give us a call at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Tony in Mission Viejo. Tony, hello.
Hello there, Johnny. Listen, I'm a Mission Viejo resident, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that we are residents of our city, our county, state, but we are citizens of the United States of America. All of what is being done right now, in essence, is rebellion against the federal government and trying to decide who has a right to live here in the United States. And I believe 90% of the rest of the country understands how crazy this situation is right now. Once again, it's a states' rights argument against the federal government, and those arguments, of course, in the 1800s led to the Civil War. So is Newsom ready to take that chance right now, maybe declare that California should secede from the United States?
Well, we've talked about this on this program numerous times before. It's become common for candidates for state office, particularly candidates for governor, to basically ignore state issues. You listen to these candidates who are running, they're not interested in talking about the bullet train. They're not interested in talking about the budget. They're not interested in talking about fire mitigation policy. They're not interested in talking about bonds. They don't care about those things. What works them up is Donald Trump, it's abortion, it's transgenderism, it's Ukraine, it's all of these subjects that don't have anything to do with state policy. Most of those are federal issues. And if all you're talking about are federal issues, then at a certain point, you would think that you should be able to dictate what the federal policies are. And that's just not the way it works. You can be the governor of your state. You can be the mayor of your city. You can be a member of the state legislature, whatever. You need to stay in your lane when it comes to procedure, when it comes to which jurisdictions you have say over. And Gavin Newsom wants to be president, and he wants to have a say over all of these federal issues. Well, guess what? He's not president. He's the governor of California, and what you just described is exactly what he's trying to do. He has no authority over any of this stuff. His opinion doesn't matter outside of the ballot that he casts when he votes in a federal election. But he's going to try to push his way into federal policy so he's a player, so he looks bigger and he looks like a stronger candidate for president, because that's ultimately where he would like to end up.
Well, I think that outside of the state of California, because I have many friends living in other states, basically are looking at this on a daily basis, and they notice those Mexican flags and all of those things which are making regular citizens extremely angry, and they can continue to believe that California is in a state of rebellion.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Mike in Orange County. Mike, hello.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Good.
Great show, by the way. Great show. I just wanted to tell you that, people have a really short memory. Didn't they remember what happened last November? We elected an old white guy that was running principally on immigration. And guess what? The center of immigration is California. And I'm glad that he's using the one of Alexander the Great's technique. You stop it in California, and you can stop it in the rest of the country.
Yeah, for a crowd that loves to talk about threats to democracy, you're 100% correct. This issue was debated ad nauseum in the last election. He put his point of view out there. She put her point of view out there. He got more votes than she did. This is what the people voted for.
That's right. Landslide election, and he was running against a diversity candidate that should have swept if everybody agreed with all these lefties.
And she didn't win any of the swing states. Thank you for the call, Sarah. I appreciate it. Let's go to Angela in L.A. Angela, hello.
Hi, yes. I just wanted to express or just vent my frustration. I am from Los Angeles, born and raised. I am Hispanic, but America is my home. I'm as American as they come, but just it's so upsetting to just see how destructive people can be, and then to have our mayor come on and I guess the word is gaslight, or, kind of tell us that we're not seeing what we're seeing, that it isn't really violent, that, we don't really need the National Guard. I'm so glad that they're here. I'm so glad that, we kind of nipped it in the bud. It could have gotten a lot worse. I mean, there's still time for it to get worse, I suppose. But, I just been really frustrated watching our public officials, our local officials kind of say, yeah, that this problem was generated by, ICE or Trump or something like that. It's just not. It's not okay. It's so frustrating. I don't even know how to express my frustration.
Well, I don't know if you saw any of the television live shots from downtown LA after the shops got looted. And they would interview the owners of the small businesses, the jewelers, or the people that own the convenience stores or whatever. And these people would be heartbroken because most of these jewelry shops don't have insurance. Most of these convenience stores, if they're insured, I'm sure their insurance premiums are through the roof because they get robbed so often. But these people basically lost everything that they have. And you hear them talk and you see the tears in their eyes. And most of them would have accents, so you knew that they were from some other country. And I was thinking, why is it that no one has sympathy for them, yet everyone has sympathy for the people who are being destructive and destroying what these people work for? If you have pride in immigrants and immigration, have pride for that person who's just trying to pay his bills by running a shop in downtown L.A., but no one seems to care about them. No,
not at all. And there is no, I I really am it's so disappointing to just see our local officials not stand up for the people that are really working. I find it almost racist to even hear that, your nanny's not going to show up to work, and you're going to find that you're not going to have your shelves stocked because all of the immigrants are not going to be coming to work. I don't think that the verbiage is just wrong. It's so wrong.
It's disrespectful, and they don't even know that they're being disrespectful, but they are.
Exactly. I'm very frustrated hearing that, and I wish more people would talk about that and they would wake up to that. So thank you for letting me vent that.
All right. Well, thanks for the call. Let's go to George in El Sereno. George, hello.
How you doing, Mr. Phillips? My name is George, first-time caller, long-time listener. I think people really need to go back to high school or college and learn government/political science to comprehend that there's state, local government, there is, the local government, city government, then the state government, and then the federal government. So earlier today, watching, I call her Kamala Bass, she was speaking, and she united all these mayors to band together like at their Voltron and assemble and all united to say, we're standing together against the federal government, against the Trump administration. And I don't know if these mayors understand that they're a city government. They have no chance of, understanding or understanding that the federal government is the law of the land. And I think people forget that. And I think people think that, my mayor is going to defend me. My mayor is going to defend my rights. And it's like, no, at the end of the day, the president of the United States is the law of the land. He dictates all the rules and everything under that, followed by the governor, followed by the mayor. So people are really, disillusional, thinking that a local government has that much power.
Yeah, I think they ran for these offices on federal issues, and that's what gets them worked up, and that's what they care about, and that's what they want to do. But if you're a city council member or you're a mayor, that's not your job. If you care about federal issues, go run for a seat in the House. Go run for a U.S. Senate seat. Go run for president. Get appointed to something. Then you can do anything you want within the confines of that office regarding federal policy. But if you're a local elected official in California, if you're spending all of your time pretending that you're in Congress, then you're not doing your job. And that's part of what we saw play out on television over the last few days, where people whose job it was to protect us and to protect our property and to make sure that things didn't get out of hand, they just didn't do their job. If she wanted to be a member of Congress, she should have stayed there. She chose to leave Congress and to become mayor of Los Angeles. Well, if you're a mayor of Los Angeles, your job is to protect the city of Los Angeles. And if you want to weigh in on immigration, or you want to weigh in on federal authority, or you want to weigh in on any of that stuff, that's not your job. Go get a different job if that's what you care about. And that's what she's doing, and that's what Newsom's doing, and that's why the condition of the state is so bad right now. We have absentee landlords. Thank you for the call, sir. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Kimberly in La Brea, or on La Brea. Kimberly, hello.
Yeah, I think she hung up.
Okay, let's go to Jesus in L.A. Jesus, hello.
Hi, I just want to mention out there, I have friends and family members that do law enforcement, LAPD, sheriff, and they're working 14-hour days, nonstop. And when they're saying we don't need help, we need help. So this is not going to stop, and we do definitely need help.
Yeah, and this was just a way to probably stick a finger in Trump's eye by saying we don't need help, we've got everything under control. We're an under-policed city as it is. Whenever there's anything big that happens, we're stretched beyond our capabilities. I mean, look at what happened during the fires, when the fires hit. You think LAFD had that under control and they weren't going to accept help from other agencies? You're out of your mind if you think that. When there's a crisis that's going on, it's all hands on deck.
Yes, 100%. And the scary thing about this is that I live in so many places with only 2-3 police officers in the radius of 50 miles because everybody else is down there. It's scary what's happening. We definitely need help, and hopefully it gets here soon.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Jimmy in Lakewood. Jimmy, hello.
Nope, don't have a Jimmy.
All right. Let's go to Frank in Orange County. Frank, welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I got a suggestion for the friend of yours that she said everybody in El Salvador has got to be in a gang for self-preservation. Ask her, should the United States have a law like we have for controlling immigration? Yes or no? Very simple question. Should we have a law? Yes or no? And then the second one is, if she can get a law passed, like what she thinks it should read, we could all shut up and go home.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the call. Although with this particular friend, I think I'm done talking politics. We'll talk about other things. Let's go to Robert in San Jose. Robert, hello.
Hey, John and Randy. Good to talk to you. It was 1996. I was back in the Philippines for about 5 months, and I was living with a family there, and we went down with some of the family members to get them signed up for the OWCP, this building in the heart of Manila. And they were all pilgrimaging there to go work overseas. Now, why haven't we gotten a bureau and a building in Mexico and these other cities? Who's delaying this? What is the end? Because we have the technology, we have these apps now. People could be, the internet. People could be qualified and vetted to come here and work and get work visas going with what skills they have. What is taking so long? Because I don't know why. Is it political now? And the dissonant voice of the revolutionary. These voices and the Soros money. And maybe preferred developers liking to bring one group of people to have them work on projects here and then give them housing, or having commandeered hotels. I don't think that model works. It's making a lot of people angry, giving people through $3,500 a week, and then they gain the system. We don't have money for that kind of stuff. Why isn't it more organized, and why isn't it being promoted that could be the ideal? So that there's all sorts of positions here, but why hasn't it been established? And the Democratic Party obviously doesn't want that. They smirk and they act like they're not for violent crime, but they've already shown their hand. I mean, Kamala Harris, $950 a day, from an establishment to get reparations. Could give me a break. It's just I don't know what's holding it up. Do you have an opinion or a theory on it?
Well, when the government wants to be efficient, they can be efficient. And if you don't believe me, just owe them money. If you owe them 10 cents, they'll have a helicopter over your house. Someone will descend from a cable. They will come down their chimney, and they will take their money. They're very good at finding you when you owe them money. Even at the airports or the ports right now, when you go through the TSA line, you don't even have to show them your documents anymore. You just show them your picture ID, your real ID, and then you stand in front of the kiosk, they take your picture, and they use facial recognition to find out if you're wanted or to find out if you're allowed to be here or not. They have the ability to answer many of the questions that you brought up and other questions that would be relevant when you're dealing with immigration. But they purposely didn't want to find out about the people who were here illegally. They purposely didn't want to find out about your criminal history because then they'd have to do something about it. And even though Joe Biden, the previous administration, paid lip service to not wanting an open border, that's exactly what he wanted. And the theory was, hear no evil, see no evil. And what Trump is doing right now is one of the reasons why it's so shocking to these people is that he's just enforcing the law that's on the books. These laws were on the books when Joe Biden was president, when George W. Bush was president, when Barack Obama was president. They just chose not to do anything about it. He's actually enforcing the law, and now their hair is on fire. Well, guess what? Had they done it when they were in office, he wouldn't have to be doing what he's doing right now. But at some point, someone has to, because if you don't have a border, you're not a country. Thank you for the call, Sarah. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. We'll take more calls, and Jennifer Van Laar from Red State will be here to tell us just exactly who's funding all of this mess. This is the John Phillips Show.